but I don't know. I don't remember what
You
it
got
does.
that whip.
Because I can't.
It's like a snake whip, right?
My loot clock
y'all
resets
can-
every week.
If
I need
you
more
pull
loot
up
every week.
The real treasures was the lore. And the friends,
No,
the
The
lore,
experiences
was
we
the
made.
lore and the friends you
you
made.
know how I
along the
feel
way.
about lore, and then.
Fucking Vance, our front pack vampire.
Yeah.
Morik.
That was the real loot.
Loot can be whatever you want to consider it as.
No, I know. Could be really good items.
Or it could just be words, a poem, a sense of warmth from a teddy
Accomplishment.
bear, maybe.
I remember you retweeting those on Twitter.
Yeah.
Is it like a
You got
pack from like
pre-spoiled.
D&D Beyond?
No, it was like some person drew that on Twitter, and they were saying like it was like just like an artist, and they were posting their work, and it was, I think they're the representation of different classes of a game they were making or something, and I thought it was really cool.
Damn.
Wait, did you guys play without me?
No,
No.
Shit.
No. Okay.
Figured this out.
we got that secret session.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's plotted against Sirocco.
Well, no,
Don't
I,
actually.
for some reason
play
I don't
with
remember.
us. He just played by himself.
Well, I know I was really distracted the last time. I was trying to do work stuff at the same time, multitask, which was not a good idea. And guys, I like had to. It like came up right as we were playing, and then I don't even remember going. I remember trying to go downstairs and then coming back up,
Yeah, because we chased those cats.
or the other way
And-
around. We tried to go up and then we came back down.
Yeah.
The last thing I remember is the Mario 64 butt bump up the stairs,
Yeah.
That's the last thing
That was
happened.
where we ended.
and then it was
Y'all-
unsuccessful.
Y'all entered this room.
No, we entered Malice's chamber.
All right,
We entered the very like octagonal, obvious boss battle room.
right.
Yeah, also, Dylan and I yesterday we saw someone on the back of their shirt. They had a name and it said Mirmo.
Oh yeah.
And we were like freaking out.
It was spelled the exact same way. And I was like, that's supposed to be a fantasy made up name.
Yeah.
That's not a person.
Wow.
Yeah.
Blanket.
Yes. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. It's in the Roll20 chat.
So you'll see on the whip specifically, while I was like trying to figure out like how it's gonna work and like what the length is, it can attack targets up to 10 feet away. And to confirm that, I looked up. You can buy replica Indiana Jones whips online, and that is how big they are. They're 10 feet long.
Okay.
So this whip is canonically equivalent to an indie whip. And there's a link
Perfect.
to the site where you can buy that in the summary.
Wow. Were there
Murcielago is a picture of Batman, of course. Death's Spear is the ring that I think Darian has.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And then Quilly, you picked up the Sicario cipher, which was a map that the thief said he found that leads to something rather ominous.
Whoa.
The only quote I could remember is Sirocco saying, "Sorry, Vance, we're gonna have to kill you."
Yeah, you guys got real dark there.
Yeah,
I mean,
Nothing came of it,
I'm
so.
still okay with how I.
it's still important. Also, the important thing to note, I guess, right before y'all walked into this room, you opened a door, and then there was a giant stone wall. And you saw as soon as you walked up, it started to open. You didn't really do anything, but there was a symbol on the stone wall, and I think Sirocco and Malos, I think, they were able to recognize that symbol, and it was a skull, kind of stylized, and it had to do with the god or the entity Charon, which is y'all understood to be the wayfarer over the river Styx, the person who like
Oh, yeah.
guides souls into the underworld in mythology. And then you opened up into this room, which was well lit with a variety of multicolored candles, red, green, blue, yellow. And in the center, you kind of can tell there's a central like circular dais that seemed obviously in the center room. It's pretty prominently featured. And then on the wings of the room, there was pillars, and in between the pillars, there was statues. And each statue was rather large, well-carved, well-designed figures that looked like mythological figures, gods, goddesses. You can't tell until you expected them. And then shortly after just entering the room and seeing all this, seeing someone, an apparition of a familiar face and a familiar voice appeared on the central dais, sitting, legs crossed, strumming a lute with his lavish hat and his kind of devil-may-care attitude, if you will, of one Malus Menicus. He would start to sing. Doesn't really acknowledge you. He gives you a nod, or he's just smiling already. You can't tell if he's looking in any one of your you guys' directions, and he starts to sing these words. He says, "Find the key ere darkness is filled, empty, yet waiting for when life is stilled. Enter and rest with Charon's toll, held fast and sure to the windows of the soul. Sound the gong in the dead of night. Be wary, stray not on your Stygian flight. Take only that to which earth belong. Ere the shadow over all begin his dark song. Once only you may try to go free with one goal. Else hapless you'll roam in the pit of Sheol." And I'll type that out, but
Yeah, please.
He's singing this in kind of an artful rendition, and of a higher quality than this nameless god Dylan could provide. But he is singing it, and you all hear it. And upon the last strum of the last lyric and note that he plays, you notice the room get a little bit darker. It's noticeable but subtle, and y'all could roll me perception checks upon that happening. And kind of as you notice that, everything dimming a little bit, Malus is no longer sitting upon the edge of this central dais.
I wonder if this is a puzzle.
I would love to participate, but I'm currently behind my TV stand, trying to fucking get internet. My modem is just like not connected.
It's all good.
I can roll.
Passive perception's probably around,
I think it's like
13 or
12.
something. So Quilly, Sirocco, you're just mesmerized by the song. You're taken in by it. Darian, same to you. That's pretty incredible that Sirocco still rolls 2 higher than Darian with a natural 1. Quilly, you notice that in that moment where he like played the last note, it's almost like a bit of like a gust of eerie wind went through the room that made the candles flicker ever so slightly, and it looks like at least one of the candles in the room, there's kind of candles all about the room. Some of them are like hung on like sconces on the pillars. Some of them are at the feet of the statues, and others seem to just be kind of in the distance, in the darkness, floating in the air. You can't tell like what they're affixed to, but it looks like at least one or more of the candles went out. That's what made the room darker. It kind of catches your eye. But yeah, that's the situation you're in. I actually have to type all this out. I can't. It's from a screenshot, so I can't copy and paste it. So it's taking a while. It's I entered half the lyrics.
Okay, so Malus disappeared. Like, we can't see him anymore.
Yep.
Damn it. Come back. That was the boss room.
Alright. Find the key. Have we found the key room yet? The room with the key?
Yeah, I don't think so.
So kind of as y'all go about the room, assuming you would just passively investigate the room, you do note, if you turned your attention to the central circular dais, if you looked into it or near it, you note, I guess, and then as soon as Malus disappears and y'all start to inspect the room, you kind of hear ever presently in a different voice than Malice's, kind of a ghostly voice that encircles the entire room, and you can't really tell where it's coming from. This is the crypt of Sharon and myself. Please treat it with the utmost respect. So Malice disappears. The room gets a little bit dimmer. And if you were to go inspect the central dais in its entirety, you'd note two main things. First is on the central dais, there's a horizontal figure laid out with their arms across their chest, kind of decked out in what looks like battle regalia, and they're wearing a pretty colorful set of armor and a colorful mask, and they look like this. And as you circle around on the other end of the room, kind of hidden from where y'all entered in, you do see a gong up against what looks like, as you see this person lying in it, looks like a woman, but she is wearing a mask and she has horns, and you kind of would be able to recognize, y'all been around the world, looks like it is a tiefling, and she has been laid to rest in this tomb, and lying up against it there is a gong.
You said she's the image that we can actually like see.
Yes. So
like is she in the? Is that a?
This is what you see in the central dais. This is just like the token figure that I have, but this is what appears when you walk up, and like she's within this tomb. There's no cover on it.
Okay.
So it's like open casket, so to speak.
Oh, okay. So Charon's tomb. Do you think this is Charon?
Was that Malice that said it was his and Charon's tomb?
So yeah, you would have been able to note that the voice that said, "This is the crypt of Charon and myself. Please treat it with the utmost respect," that kind of permeated throughout the entire room. It was either Malice's voice heavily distorted, or it wasn't Malice's voice. It didn't sound like him, because you just heard him sing like a little birdie.
Find the key at the darkness field and
here,
waiting for when life is stilled. Enter and rest as Charon's told.
So what are the figures again? You said they were like, we interpreted them as like gods or deities or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, you could go inspect them one by one, but you do notice, like, kind of as y'all are walking about, some of you are inspecting the central tomb. Mirmo she was drawn, seemingly. She heard kind of what was happening, she kind of was wary, and then you saw her kind of drawn to one of the statues, and she walks over to it, and it's a kind of heavily armored androgynous figure. You can't tell if it's male or female, but it's holding a sword aloft, and it looks like it's wearing like heavy, very intricate, almost holy armor. It's like shining, and that's the one Mirmo is going and kind of standing before. Her attention is fixed upon it.
Can you give a quick description of the other ones, I guess, to see if we're like drawn to any of them, or are they just
so? The one Mirmo's next to is over here, the one as I just described. The one that is kind of like red tinged, and it has its arms out, and in each arm there is some kind of chaotic, almost like lightning-like energy, and it has a mad look on his face. It's a male. And then the one that's near the entrance to the room that looks kind of angelic is holding, looks like water in its hands, and it's kind of streaming over the edge of its fingers. And it's kind of just looking up, and it's more of like a peaceful and obviously angelic with its wings figure. And then down below, first one on the left, it looks like has like a jackal-looking face, is carrying a large staff, has humanoid body, but it's either has a jackal for a face or it's wearing like a headdress, like so. One on the very bottom middle is a huge black dragon, and it is rather terrifying and menacing in the pose that it's currently in. And then bottom right is a woman that's kind of like, she is completely barren, all is revealed up top, and she's kind of lithely exposing her top half, and then her bottom half extends into the bulbous form of a giant spider. So it's a half person, half spider, monstrous womanly figure. So that's what you see. If you wanted to inspect any of them in depth to see if you recognize them, you could roll me some religions based on I guess which ones you'd want to look at.
Can I ask Mirmo if she knows who the person with the sword is?
Yeah. So if you asked, she would kind of turn, like, this is our door, the Archon of Justice. It's one of the pantheons, or one of the pantheon of the deities and the group of deities. The type of magic that I followed all my life. It's a
Do you recognize
great celestial figure in the high heavens above?
Ask her if she recognizes any of the other statues.
Yeah, she'd glance around.
Or I guess, are they all deities? I ask her specifically.
She's like, I would assume so. I know the angelic figure is another I'd recognize, although I'm not as closely affiliated. It is Pelor, the Shining One, is the angelic figure with the water in her hands.
Pelor. Well, in our riddle, there's two words: Stygian flight and the pit of Sheol. Can I do, I guess, a religion to see if I know either of them?
I would say Stygian flight. Stygian you would recognize as just a kind of adjective or word describing something as dark, having to do with the underworld, shadowy, that type of... It's just like a... I wouldn't recognize necessarily as... I guess Malos and Soraka, the people that rolled well on Charon, would understand that root word. It means what I just said, but that root word is from Styx, S-T-Y-X. And then Pit of Sheol, you could roll a religion.
Okay.
Yeah, so you are very familiar with Sheol, considering you're a warlock. It's kind of a... it's a poetic term to describe kind of universally across religions the concept of an underworld.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, so this is in character. All right, so it seems to me like each of the lines in this riddle / song, it seems like they're steps. So I think we should try to go in order.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys disagree, but I think starting with find the key at the darkness is filled is a good place to start.
Yeah, it's Ear the Darkness. That one's a typo. It's E-R-E, not E-T-E. But yeah, the first line.
Ear the darkness is filled. Okay, yeah.
Malice disappears and comes back. He's like, by the way, it's ear, not eat. He just disappears again.
Okay, I'm gonna go inspect the dragon.
Okay. Roll me a religion. And I will say that, like, as y'all are kind of inspecting these things, asking these questions, having these conversations, you notice the room and the light in the room from the candles flickers again. It gets a bit dimmer, and the figure in the tomb disappears. If anybody was keeping an eye on her, someone caught it out of their corner of their eye, you notice her just kind of fade away, kind of disapparate. And Malos, not sure how you know this god, you could decide that yourself, but this is this tyrannical, huge black dragon that has kind of just dark smoke coming out of his mouth, huge, menacing eyes, full, looks like ancient dragon, is Null, the dragon god of death.
Whoa.
I want to go up and inspect the where the figure just faded away from.
Yeah,
the tomb.
so you went up and inspected it, and y'all could have probably reached in and tried to touch her before, assuming someone maybe would have done that. But if you reached in now, nothing is there, and if you tried to reach in earlier, your hand would have just passed through where it looked like her figure was. And now it's empty. It's just a black horizontal space where...
I get in.
Okay.
Wait.
So Sirocco is halfway to getting in. And then...
I pause. Yes.
I feel like maybe that's step, 3. But maybe not. Or you actually do whatever you want, Sirocco.
Steps 1 through
Enter and
3 or
rest.
4
Yeah,
are
empty
all
it,
go
waiting.
together, but I don't
Life
know.
is
I mean,
stilled.
if you have another few ideas of if they're thing, step
Like, line 2 and
lines
3.
or this process of getting in, but I don't know. I was just gonna do it. But if you have some other ideas that we can do first, then we should probably do those.
I don't know.
I mean, maybe
Line 2 and
nothing-
3 make me like agree with what he's doing. Like empty yet waiting for when life is stilled, enter and rest.
All right, fuck it, let's do it.
You sure?
So in
Okay.
the midst of this conversation, the lights flicker once more. Gets darker in the room again. Now this time it's a little bit more noticeable, and y'all could roll. I guess everyone except for Malice, because he's a little bit closer, can roll a perception. But Malice, you notice, kind of you're having this conversation, but you're also just inspecting the statue. The statue has moved closer towards you, and like kind of in a split second in the flicker of the darkness, the statue's moved closer, and like you could have sworn it was also in a different position. And
Sure, they're
Sirocco,
pretty.
you notice you're kind of attuned to what's happening because you had this idea and you're making a move. It looks like every statue in the room has either moved the way its hands were or legs were positioned, or it looks bigger to you in the sense that maybe it's closer to
Everybody
the center
in.
of the room.
Everybody get the fuck in. There we go.
Is there enough room for all of us? Scoot over. Scoot over.
Sirocco, jump.
Wait. What?
Does anything happen when Soraka gets in the tomb?
So whenever you get in, there's not a ton of room, like if somebody else tried to get in. But you get in and lie down in it, sitting there for a few moments. Nothing immediately happens, no.
I close the tomb on him.
It doesn't have like a top. It was already
okay, it's just open.
There's no, it was an open casket.
I close. I mean, I
Is there a
Wait.
board we can take? Close the casket
Find the
with?
find the
kill me.
key. Find the key. Ear the darkness
Kill me.
is filled. Why don't we just
Oh,
Wait,
blow out all the candles?
Oh shit.
statues are moving.
enter and rest. What is Sharon's title? Like, I mean, that's
Sharon's
fast to the
presumably
windows
one
of the
people
soul.
that was in the tomb.
okay.
Wait, sorry, what's
I
that?
mean, they're,
I
we're looking for. I mean,
The windows of the soul
Yeah,
are like
no,
eyes.
right.
Do we need to
I
just
mean,
go
is
look in
there-
their eyes and see
Is
if
the
like
internet working?
is there an obvious pair of eyes somewhere?
Yeah, I can hear you well.
If not, I'm gonna lay in there and somebody's got to hit the gong.
Maybe we blow out all the candles and we'll find the key.
Start blowing.
I like that. I
We're
like
running
that.
out
Let's
of
do that.
time.
Alright,
I cast Mage Hand.
I had a similar thought.
Okay.
I whip out one of the candles.
What?
while
Oh,
you're in the
wait.
tomb.
Yes.
So, what's the action that you're taking? You took out. I heard Mage Hand. I heard candles. What's going on?
We're all trying to put out the candles. Or I mean, at least me and Sirocco are.
Or
Well,
Sirocco's
can I
do
Yeah,
a religion check?
I'm gonna stay in. I'm gonna stay in the tomb, laying there with my eyes closed.
Malice is putting out candles.
While this is going on, I guess I noticed this one moving closer. Can I like look at its eyes and also do a religion check on it?
that one right there, the red one.
Yeah, the one that was like
Yeah.
I guess semi
You can
closest
roll
to
me
me.
a religion.
Do I have no? Do I have disadvantage on this?
No, you have advantage. This is a check, not a saving throw, and you read that like Uber religion book, right?
Yeah.
Long ago.
Nice.
Yeah, so this you recognize as you have pretty extensive knowledge. This is Cyric, the Mad God and Prince of Strife, and it is he is a deity known for monomania, lies, strife, just general chaos, and you can kind of tell that implicitly from the mad look on his face and the electricity it looks like he's holding in his hands. And kind of as you're making this inspection, getting pretty close, you see kind of like his face, which is like tongues lolling out to the side. His face is like twisted in like kind of a maniacal grin. You see it noticeably since you're staring right at it. It extends closer to your face. Its face shifts into one of more of a maniacal frown, and it looks like his teeth are bared a little bit more. And it happens in an instant, just as the room gets a little bit darker as well. And at the same time as this is happening, I guess, Quilly, you're going around and using Mage Hand to put out candles.
I don't know. Maybe we should just get out of here. Okay, I mean, yeah. I'll
Let's
try
go
to.
back and bump up the
And
stairs.
Sirocco, while this is happening as well, I would say you could roll me a history check or a religion check, whatever's you prefer. Kind of as you're thinking, sitting there calmly. So I had you roll this because you know who Sharon is. That's not a good roll for you. How to put this? You would know, in generally, like Sharon being this wayfarer across the river Styx, the Stygian guide. He required something in order for people to take a ride on his boat.
Oh, fuck.
And it's just known. But you don't really remember what it was or anything. You just remember, like, yes, of course, there was, like, that's part of the myth, is that there was something.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Seems like there's maybe 3 good gods and 3 bad gods. I guess we don't know the one behind the tomb. We know there's at least 2 good ones and 3 bad ones. I'm guessing the Spider Lady's bad.
Wow, Quilly. Racist much?
Mirmo would actually, you mentioning that, she's like, oh, yeah, I forgot to mention. Yeah, she's really bad. That's Loth. That's the Spider Queen. That's the goddess of chaos. And she's worshipped by the Dark Elves, and they're known for not being very nice.
Are the statues like too big to move as like a person?
It looks, yeah. I mean, it would take immense strength. They're about twice the size of a normal man, and they're kind of towering in the room and like built of stone.
Okay.
Did we blow out all the candles?
Yeah. Did anything happen after the candles?
So you took out all the candles.
Yeah. I did it.
Okay.
I'm holding on to one, so I know it's there, so I can light it again.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So who has dark vision?
I do.
Do my special eyes?
I don't think anybody else does. Dwarves
Oh,
have dark
shit.
vision, I think. So Mirmo.
Dwarves have dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, dwarves have dark vision.
Yeah.
Half elves have dark vision as well.
So you have dark vision. Okay. So Sirocco, roll me a dex check. And as soon as you take out the last candle in the room, Sirocco, you kind of have this moment. You're a monk, you light on your feet. You're dealing with you've dealt with many like physical like dangers, magic that you've had to like get out of the way of, and like you've kind of mastered this sense of like foreboding, where you know like your body's about to be in danger. And you have that feeling right now, and you immediately like shift in the tomb and kind of like tense up, move your body, and you feel like 3 different booms into the stone right next to where your body was, your hands and legs, like boom, boom, boom. And you can't see it because it's literally pitch dark in the room now. Like you was holding on to a little bit of light, and right as Quilly extinguishes, it goes dark, and this happens immediately. And Quilly and Darian, you see all the statues have moved past everyone, and I guess Malos, like everyone in the room would have felt like and heard kind of sounds, but it was almost too quiet for this amount of movement. And all 6 of the statues are surrounding the immediate surroundings of the tomb that Sirocco's in, and you see the dragon kind of reaching down with a claw. You see Loth, the Spider Queen, reaching in with like one of her spider legs, and you see the reddish maniacal one also reaching into the tomb. And then you see the 2 holy shining looking ones, the angelic one and the one with the sword, kind of like extending their arms out, and kind of like it looks like they're trying to block or defend against these strikes from the other ones. And then you also see the jackal-faced god of sand looking person kind of standing with his staff and looking down upon this. And Sirocco, you like, if you moved your leg against it, you could feel that this stone hands, stone claws, stone spider leg are like in the tomb with you.
Oh god.
And it is pitch dark, so you only feel this, but that's what you see kind of happen in a flash across people with and without dark vision.
Well, that probably wasn't great. Sirocco almost got slammed.
Somebody needs to hit the gong.
Can I hit the gong?
Let's scream it.
I cast Great Flame in my hand so that Malos can see. And then Malos, you can hit the gong if you want.
If you can see it.
So,
Okay. Oh wait, I'm gonna move. Wait, hang on. I'm gonna move right in front of the gong, so I know it's like right in front of me.
yeah.
And then I'm gonna tell Quilly to put his light out.
Oh, okay, and then put it out.
Okay, and then I hit the gong.
So all the lights are out in the room. You hit the gong and wait a few moments. Nothing happens. And Sirocco, you can roll another dexterity check. And you also
Fuck.
Can I
hear a voice, kind of the same omnipresent voice, whispering.
You guys are idiots.
You hear, the toll must be paid.
Oh shit.
Oh. What do we? What's okay? So what's the bid?
So
What do you have
Sirocco
to
rolled
give
another
for it?
dexterity.
I cut myself.
So this time, you kind of you tense and you feel the spidey sense again, but it's not as strong this time because you already kind of expended some adrenaline the first time, and this is only happening like not that long later. And you move your legs kind of instinctively, you dodge 2 of the hits, but then you feel kind of like a long, like dagger-like figure hit you in the stomach, and you take.
Oh man, this isn't great.
Should have sealed the tomb.
8 points of bludgeoning damage.
Oof.
As you
Would I
feel one of the
be
things hit you.
bleeding from this?
No, I mean it's more of like a punch bludgeon.
I just
than it
broke
was
off
a cut.
my ribs. Okay.
I'm gonna reach in my bag and pull out some. So I guess does anything happen when Sirocco cuts himself?
Yeah, I want to cut myself.
So you're cutting yourself like on the hand or where?
Oh man, I think we have a bad choice to make.
Wait, why are you doing that?
Because this was the answer to the last puzzle. So Darren, I guess while this is all happening, Darren's gonna reach into his bag and pull out some like gold pieces and just like throw them in the tomb and see what happens.
Okay.
Okay.
So how many gold pieces? You're just throwing them into the tomb?
Like a handful. Like
Handful. Okay.
yeah.
So yeah, you see Darian fish some gold out of his bag. He tosses it into the tomb with Sirocco, and Sirocco kind of just getting struck by this stone spider leg, and it's kind of just hovering over his body. He hears these things clang, and he's like, "Whoa, fuck!" And he like kind of jukes again because he's like in monk mode now. And yeah, the gold clatters inside the tomb against the stone, and yeah, nothing happens immediately. It's just that happens. Okay.
Well, maybe
And I'd
they.
say
I don't know.
Malice, given things transpiring up to now, you can
All right.
roll a history or religion.
I'm gonna get in
As
the
well.
wait. Fuck. I'm gonna roll history, but I'm also gonna. Okay, I think I'm gonna get in the tomb, and I'm not gonna do anything.
You're gonna get in the tomb like over Sirocco, so like you don't
Wait,
have.
no, I'm gonna pull Sirocco out, and I'm gonna lay there.
So yeah, that's you kind of. I mean, it's still pitch dark in the room. So as you kind of move towards the tomb, and you're trying to navigate like using your hands and like your eyes haven't really adjusted. It's been dark in the room, but like you can't see your own hand in front of your face. You notice that there's these tendrils and like a stone sword and a stone claw and different things that are now like in the tomb that are like kind of staying there, and it's you kind of feel Sirocco's legs in between them. He's not like his doesn't feel like he's like held down by them, but it's like it would be difficult with these different stone crisscrossing limbs to either have Sirocco get out of the tomb at this point or you get in. And you kind of notice that just by touch. And you kind of touch Sirocco's leg. He notices you're there. You kind of like you feel him jump again because he's still tensing up. But so that's
Okay. I shout into the air. I will pay the toll.
okay. You don't hear a response to that. But with that history check, I will say, you being a soldier and knowing the mythological significance of Sharon, you would have already known the thing that Sirocco thought of earlier with, you know, that Sharon required a certain toll in order to have people cross on his boat.
Yep.
You know kind of ancillary information about the dead and certain customs that are a part of burying people, especially in open casket type situations, your fellow soldiers maybe. Something to do with coins, 2 coins specifically.
Okay.
Point specifically.
So do we need to wait? Wait. I think we should put 2 coins over Sirocco's eyes.
Yep.
Oh shit! Nice. All right, I'm gonna take my gold pieces back, and I'll leave 2 on Sirocco's eyes.
I
Then
already put them all in my pocket.
Oh,
You can roll
he's
sleight of
monk mode, dodging everything, and also taking
That's
gold
why-
pieces.
Yeah,
I will say,
gold over my eyes.
Okay, so you put 2 gold pieces over your eyes, so that's happened, and nothing happens, but
I hit the gong.
yeah.
Dude, what?
Okay, so
Held fast and true to the windows of the soul. The fucking
Oh
eyes.
shit!
God damn
Yeah,
Yeah, we forgot about that.
Stupid Will.
damn it.
Oh.
Ugh.
so
That was a good team effort, though. We got it.
you see all the candles
Still
come back
give us
on,
the answer.
and the light kind of flickers back to the beginning of how it looked in the room, and you see these statues now all over the tomb. You see Null kind of reaching both of his claws into the tomb, and they're like slammed down right next to Sirocco's feet. You see Loth with her spider leg kind of right above Sirocco's bruised abdomen, and you see kind of resisting with 2 hands, kind of trying to push back. You see Palor, the angelic figure, and then you see Cyric dropping both of his hands in, and you see Ardor, the armored swordsman, kind of blocking one of his hands, and they're kind of all in this scene of battle, it almost looks like, right over the tomb. And then you see the jackal-like figure on the end. I don't think anybody actually ever rolled to know the name of that one, but it's Anubis. And he is kind of standing right in front of the gong, and he just has his staff, and he's just staring down at the scene. And as the lights come on, you see kind of all of the statues retract their movement maneuvers that they kind of did in a flash at various moments that Sirocco only felt, and then the dark vision people saw. And you see them all step back and kind of drift back into their original positions. And you see this figure reappear, now standing beside the tomb. And she's like kneeling on one leg, and she says, she has like a huge like spear, and it looks like it's flaming. It's providing a little bit more light, this tiefling woman. She says, Sharon was much more than just a guide. Sharon was a god in his own right, and one that believed in equality, in a way, for all beings in death. Sharon was a progressive figure in the pantheon that people often overlook, but I never did. He understood innately that we are all equal in death. He knew what happens firsthand to a soul when they die, as he ferried souls there countless times over the aeons, whether they be going to the astral plane, to Valhalla, or to Avernus. He knows that death is inevitable for all beings, even immortal ones, and thus all beings deserve equal rights in life, for life is simply death becoming itself. The Menicus family and I venerated and heeded the call of Sharon in these ways, and we continue to even now in our deaths. My name is Kirandet, and death is a powerful responsibility. And she stands, opens her eyes above like this kind of demonic mask she has on. She looks at everybody, and she says, "Will you take the blessings of Sharon's children, a kiss of life and a taste of death for all time?" And she holds like her hands out almost to the outer edges of the room, in between the pillars. She kind of puts her hands, presenting the statues in a way. And you kind of get the sense that there is something to be gained in a one-time sense from each statue in the room. Innately, from her words, you'd understand that. But y'all could walk to each statue depending on your inclination, and I would tell you what that thing is, or Kirandet will.
Interesting.
I woke up to Anubis.
Okay? And I put this stuff a long time ago. Let's make sure it's not OP. Final review in the moment. This is, yeah, okay. So, Anubis you walk up to Anubis, and he's kind of starts to like glow and shine in a way, offering something to you. And you get a sense that Anubis would grant you with the ability to dole out an ill-fated word. and it would be essentially you were able to use this ill-fated word to imbue a curse upon a creature temporarily, altering its chance to succeed at whatever it's currently doing. And this is what that would look like in game speak.
Oh, nice. It's kind of cool.
Magic user, like such as a warlock, would understand that to be similar to the spell Bane.
All right. A little skeptical of some of these gifts. Take only that to which Earth belong.
Are you saying
To
as
which-
a character? To ally?
Yeah. I said that out loud.
Oh, because we only did the first half of this, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole another few lines of the song.
Hear the shadow over all.
Beware, stray not on your Stygian flight. Take only that to which Earth belong, ere the shadow or all begin his dark song. That doesn't sound good to me.
Once you may try to go free with one goal, else hapless you roam in the pit and shoal. Is this like about how we get out of here, maybe?
I don't know. Let's look at what the other people have to offer and see if we can deduce something.
Yeah, I'm gonna look
Yeah.
at the holy warrior looking one that I'm standing right next to.
Ardor? Okay.
Yeah, I'll go to this. I'll go to the spider, and you can just read it after Ardor.
So, Ardor starts to shine and he or she, it's just an armored, you can't really tell, figure. The sword kind of back into position. You get an understanding that a person who vibed with this Ardor figure, aspect of Ardor, would gain a golden glowing crown of light for their head, over their head temporarily, that emits light all around it, invoking the majesty of the celestial planes to aid your allies.
Huh.
And this is what that would look like. Crown of Justice. Who
God.
said that? Mirma's like, what? And Mirma's actually standing right next to you, shoulder to shoulder, and she like looks at you. She's like, wow, pretty cool, huh?
Maybe I was into it.
She's like, I kind of want to call dibs on this one.
The healer.
I mean, I guess can we like go up and fucking like look at all of them and know what the abilities are before we decide? Or I guess since I'm already here,
I was just saying, like, anybody who was like drawn to one or the other, you go and like basically stake your claim or whatever. But before you knew.
Actually, I guess I'm more curious about the dragon.
Okay. So Null, you get an understanding that Null had a encyclopedic knowledge of the life force of entities, given it is the aspect of the anti-life in a way, in death. And you get an understanding that you would gain the ability to analyze the life force of living entities in the same way. In the form of analyzing their like nin internal like kind of chakra aura, you would be able to gain knowledge about their state of life.
That's cool.
all right. I'm gonna give Mirmo dibs because she seems pretty pissed. Am I allowed to do that?
She was asking nicely. She wasn't pissed.
Oh no, I know. I was joking, but she can do that. So I guess Soraka is the only other person that hasn't gone to one.
Yeah.
I'm having internet issues, so I'm over the phone. I can't see shit right now.
Oh, okay.
So the only ones that are left are the Mad God, the Angelic God, and
The
Loth,
boob queen spider.
Yeah. Spider Booby Queen. And Sorako, you actually...
Am I drawn to any of them?
You're not drawn to any of them specifically, but you get an understanding as you kind of climb out of the tomb after all of them retracted. Kirandet would kind of eye you and kind of impart to you just via aura that because you were the one in the tomb and you bore the most risk to your livelihood in a way, knowingly or not, you get the selection of more than one. And by more than one, I mean two.
I'll go to the angelic one first.
Okay, so Pelor, the Shining One, is kind of this god of life and peace in a way. You get an understanding that you would be able to shine your innate talents and gain a kind of blessing from the celestial elements of the world. Shining talents. And as a bonus action, you open yourself to receive momentary insights that improve your odds of success for 30 seconds or until your concentration ends. Whenever you make an attack roll, a saving throw, or an ability check, you can roll a d4 and add it to the total.
Okay.
I'm gonna go to the Cyric one while he's doing that then, because I don't think Darian would go to Boob Queen Spider Lady.
Okay. So, Cyric, the Mad God and Prince of Strife, you kind of get this wily sense that you could pull off, maybe daily, a magnificent lie and get people to bend to your will via this lie for a temporary.
That sounds something Malice would like.
I was gonna say that sounds like Malice's alley. I'll go to the spider and ask her what she's got for me.
Loth,
Show me what you got.
show me what you got.
Little Morty reference for everybody.
I
Yep.
kind of like glance at her boobs
A
out
little
of the
bit.
side of my
Vance,
Fucking Quilly.
Vance is like, yeah, get shifty, yeah, swifty.
What?
Vance is like, wow, this room was pretty wild. I was quiet to give you guys some respect for your old noggins, but whoa, that was crazy. Moving statues.
Oh, that's funny.
I gotta like drink water to recover from the Vance voice. So, Loth, you get the ability that she is a master manipulator. You get the understanding that she's a master manipulator, and her like ability she would imbue into you would be able to puppeteer figures into. This is worded weirdly, but basically make people do things they don't want to do for a turn.
I could be into that.
Shadow puppet, you're able to animate. Wow.
Oh, I kind of like that. Unless, I mean, maybe running out of
Not what I said, actually. It just is a paralyzed attack.
Wait, it is paralyzed or it isn't?
Just to make a saving throw or be paralyzed.
Holy shit. That's really strong. Is paralyzed like incapacitated?
No, those are separate conditions,
Oh, okay.
but they're like similar.
Alright, how are we able to like trade these abilities now that we know what all of them are? They got a min-max?
Um,
That's the DM. That's what I was asking.
Yeah, I mean, I would say you could go to each one and like see its offer, and you could move about and choose different ones if you wanted.
I don't know. I'm pretty into this hot Spider Queen's offering.
I mean, which
Basically,
one-
everyone gets one except for Sirocco, who can take two.
Ooh.
Which ones can we take? I'm saying this to the group
All of them.
because of. I mean, we can, but should we take all of them? That's the question.
Oh shit, yeah, they're all cursed. We're fucked. Good catch.
Well, I mean, just we can only take. I mean, I can't see it now because my shit's fucked up. But there was something in the riddle.
As you're saying that and kind of thinking this through, like Sirocco has this like fingers on his chin. He's like kind of rubbing it. You see Miramor turn around and she has like a glowing crown that like casts huge light across the room. She's like, "What were you saying?"
But okay, I don't know.
So the riddle says, "Take only that to which earth belong." I don't know if that has to do with this though.
There's water pouring out of Pelor's thing. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of that's talking about like Earth. I mean, I think of like the Earth elements, and water is one of the more important ones. But
As y'all kind of openly discuss the riddle, Kira Undet is still standing there, kind of observing the room. She would hear that, and you see her kind of like look about as y'all go throughout the statues and then discuss this. And she would say, "The riddle, the words, the song that Malos recounted of Sharon, they are of no consequence any longer."
I think she's lying. No, I'm kidding.
You want to roll an insight check?
Sure.
Roll it up. She said those words in the same way she said all the others. Seems pretty resolved.
Okay.
As far as you can tell.
Okay. So let's work through these real quick. Alice, you wanted the magnificent lie.
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute.
You're good. You're good.
I
Ill-fated.
do a lot of talking. I'm just saying,
Mhm.
Magnificent Lie probably makes sense for me.
I'd probably be fine. So is Shadow Puppet? You're able to.
We'll go to the go to Cyric then, just so we know who's taking what.
Okay, I'll move over there.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Shadow
I was-
Puppet is
I was
kind of
shaking.
worded weird, but it's essentially you make a melee spell attack against a creature by like kind of ripping its shadow out of itself and then making it shadow attack it, and it's if you hit on your spell attack, It takes 1d8 psychic damage, and then they have to make a save to not be paralyzed.
Is there like a cooldown on this? Is this once per day?
You from your understanding, most of the you get the understanding that these are all you don't. From what Kieran said and imparted, we don't know how long these boons might last, and all of them are once per day, even if it doesn't say it.
Like Nen. Oh, okay. So even though Nen Aura is as a bonus action, it would still be like once per day.
Yeah, these are kind of. I don't know. You don't understand the explicits of it, but you get the sense that this would be like a daily thing you could do to access this gift from aspects of these various gods and goddesses.
All right.
I'm doing Anubis. We have the 3 covered. So I guess Quill, it's whatever you decide, and then Sirocco's can take the other 2. So we can move on.
Okay, which one's Anubis?
Anubis was the ill-fated word.
Oh, okay, that's a good one. Yeah, I'll take Shadow Puppet then.
Okay.
So for Sirocco, that leaves Paylor's Shining Talents
And Nenora.
and Null's Nin Aura. Yeah.
What's that one? I didn't hear that one.
The Nin Aura is, as a bonus action, you can analyze the Nin Aura of one creature you can see, and you learn its current hit point total and all of its immunities, resistances, and vulnerabilities.
Okay.
Well,
It's actually super strong.
Yeah. That's good.
Cool.
Okay, so as y'all walk up to these statues, they glow and invite this energy. Some of them are emitting light, some of them emit no light, and you take these abilities unto yourself. Sirocco, you get 2 of them, walk across the pond from Null to Pelor, and Kirandet kind of bows and says, "Thank you for taking the blessings of Sharon's children, as we are all his children. I bid you farewell." She starts to fade away into the spot she's standing. She doesn't walk away or do anything else.
Well then.
And you do notice, I guess I didn't mention it explicitly before, but y'all saw it. There is a stairwell up in this room as well, behind the pillars and statues.
Oh, like here?
Yep.
Wow, so I guess this might be it? Should we go up?
Well, what's your schedule looking like right now?
Oh, yeah, it's 9. Or 8 for me.
So my dinner's like a 15-20 minute walk away, and it's at 10:45, so I can keep playing for a little bit.
Let's go upstairs.
Do it. Do.
So, as you,
35?
I guess everybody's going in a line. Who's going first? What order are y'all in? It's the marching orders.
I'll run up. I go up the stairs and I beckon. Let's go.
I wanna. Can we? Not arrest, but I need to take a potion at least before we go in.
What are your hit points at? Didn't we get healed? I don't have any spell slots.
Miro healed just a little bit, but I'm also kind of damaged.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've taken hits in that one and the fight before.
I have a pretty decent lay on hands pool. I could start using that. I don't know how to ask how much healing can I do, but I would assume that with my lay on hands pool, it could be this is how much HP it would require to heal whatever the wounds they have, right, Dylan?
Yeah, if y'all took the time to figure out what ails you, you could lay on hands as much as was needed, as much as you wanted.
So I have 25 available, so I could heal that much for other people, at least part of it. I'll probably maintain some of it. So
Mirmo can also do some healing. She would say.
I'm missing 13 hit points. I guess in game speak, I've got a cut across my chest.
Yeah, I don't know the best way to do that. That's why I feel bad. It's just well, I have 25 points.
13 hit points is you're everybody. You're just tired. You're feeling more exhausted than everybody else. I wouldn't even say that's but yeah.
I'm gonna fucking go lay my hands on Malos. I don't know why I said fucking, but I'm gonna go do it.
So
I'm just gonna go put
you
my
would know
hand-
among y'all, you would know Mirmo is in the worst shape.
Oh, okay.
And Sirocco is looking bloodied.
Okay, yeah, maybe that's a better answer.
And Mirmo's beyond bloodied.
Yeah.
When Mirmo used that heal in the room with the blood.
Malice pushes Darian away. He's like, go heal them. What are you doing?
Yeah. Sorry.
And Quill is looking great, Darian's looking great, and Malice he's just looking a little bit more tired, but yeah, that's what you'd get implicitly.
I'm gonna go give. I'll start with a good 10 HP buff on or not buff, but I'm gonna go heal Mirmo first.
Okay. Should say thank you so much. I know I'm moving a little bit slower than everybody else. I apologize, but thank you.
Now that you're a little bit healthier, do you have any additional healing you can help us out with here?
Yeah, I'm looking. She's got some good spells, man. Clerics are very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she would say you can use the rest or your additional resources on Sirocco. I think I can heal the rest of myself, or a significant portion of the rest of myself, with one of my spells. Thank you, though.
Okay. I will go to Sirocco, and I will lay my 15 healing hands on him, depleting my pool.
So how much are you giving him?
Save a few for yourself.
Dylan, I think we talked about this before. I don't know if I can technically use it on myself. I feel like I need to like.
I ruled. I read it and I looked it up, and it's kind of ambiguous DM rule. And I would say lay on hands would have to be used on someone else.
I agree.
In the nature of what it is.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm trying to get an idea, like, I'm going to be healing Sirocco, but is Sirocco hurt enough to where, 15 is going to put him over what Malice is at? Or can Mirmo help Malice?
If Mirmo used one of the remaining spells she had on Malice, it would be overkill for sure.
Okay. I mean, we do still have potions as well, right? Some people have potions.
You can check your inventories, but
I have one.
Assuming somebody does. Yeah, if you healed Sirocco with the rest and tapped yourself out, it would get him to almost full. It would put him in better shape than Malice, but not by a ton.
Okay, I'll do that then. Plus 15 Sirocco.
Okay.
And then y'all can, I don't have any potions, so it's up to y'all to deal with potions.
Alright, I adjusted your health,
Keep
Sirocco.
Okay, I'm still trying to get in. It's making me update a bunch of shit, a bunch of drivers.
This is on like Chrome?
Yeah,
just
Windows.
Windows.
like I said, I never use this computer, and it just I think something is wrong with like the Wi-Fi drivers because it drops like every minute. It just drops and then it cycles back and drops. Like no other device in the house has an issue, but then it doesn't have any other problems, and I can't get it to just correct. It's just kind of a pain in the ass. But I'm working.
Sounds weird.
So, I guess we're all, you'll still need to resolve if you're going to do healing potions or anything. And I guess, Dylan, you're going to resolve the Mirmo part, but...
Yeah, so
I
Mirmo used
don't have any healing potions.
You see
What'd you
Mirmo
say,
use a
Alex?
spell on
You
herself.
broke up. Alex, what did you say?
I'm just saying I got one potion. I'm just gonna save it in case I need it or anyone else needs it, like during the next encounter or the next room.
Okay, sounds good.
Because I guess I'm gonna. Dylan, what am I at?
You are at 33 now.
Okay, yeah, I'm good. I'll save it in case somebody gets low.
Sounds good. Alright, are we all done with healing then? Onward and upward?
Yep, Mirmo used a spell on herself, and she's looking better. She's still the worst among y'all, but looking better than she was.
Nice.
So, as y'all go up the stairs, it looks like, it's just the stairs go up into the ceiling to where the second floor would be. But you notice that once you get to like the edge, it starts to curve and it turns into a spiraling staircase. And y'all are walking in this line up the spiraling staircase for longer than you would expect given you saw where the ceiling was.
Wait, are we moving into a different room?
Yes. Copying everybody's tokens over.
Oh, sweet.
So as y'all are walking up the stairs, you eventually reach what looks like the end of this spiraling staircase. It just keeps going up and up, kind of in darkness. There's no light beyond what you might have produced, and Mirmo would cast light kind of in the middle of y'all, and she's holding it up on her mace as you make your way up this dank stairwell.
Mm-hmm.
You get to the top of it, and it's kind of like a room, or it's just a dark, shrouded. You can't tell if it's a room or not, but there's this shroud, and you can't really go any further. It just the step ends and just goes into like nothingness. And before you like moved any further, you would hear a familiar voice, but with some of the joviality stripped from it, and with some of the devil may care attitude and tone taken out, you hear the voice of Malice. And he says, from the darkness. You don't know where he's speaking from, but you know it's his voice, just with those different attributes. And he says, what are their names? I can't remember. And if you're here, then you know their names.
I shout, Barrick.
And you'd hear him acknowledge, Barrick, of course. Our berserking hulk of a man, but so gentle at heart. Barrick, Barrick, Barrick. And you hear him just repeating it.
Ronde.
God, Ronde. She treated us like her cubs. I'll never forget those brews. Whether they always did what they intended to do or not, they were always memorable.
Silas.
Ah, Silas, that old bastard. He's too clever. Too fun-loving almost for his own good. Troublemaker amongst us. And I take much pride in saying I taught him much of what he knows. Yet he still taught me some as well.
Desari, whatever her name is. Desiree?
Yeah, Desari.
Sorry.
She tried her best to save us from ourselves and from the pains and the bloody nature of our misadventures, and she was able to patch us up. But the look on her face when those wounds would inevitably get reopened, it pains me now. Desari, I wish I could apologize to her. He's like kind of speaking all this and almost with like a smidgen of defeat in his voice. You can tell.
Taron.
Wait, sorry, what did you say?
Taron, whatever. The gardener guy.
Who's that? The gardener. Okay. Yeah. It's like, oh, Taron. It's like he was an interesting discovery, or he was making interesting discoveries out there. I hope the tree's looking good out there. So it's still alive. I hope it is.
The semen tree?
Yeah.
Last
The
time
Phasma tree. It's like, did he ever name that? Did he ever name that bad boy?
Back. Final
Vok.
answer.
Yeah.
Fuck. Damn it.
It's like Vok. Vok's knowledge would be more useful to us now than more so now than ever. Ironic, isn't it? That considering what he learned, he didn't even want to use. He knew what would come of such dark arts. He wanted to discover it with the hope of containing it, and open any history book to tell you how that pans out for most.
Nayoth.
Nayoth.
God, Nayoth.
We're
The most
butchering the
ambitious.
fucking names.
The most ambitious of us all. She was a wayward child, and given her upbringing, given the atrocities that she witnessed to just as a mere child, I wouldn't have given her much of a chance, but we poured enough of our care and hearts into caring for her that I think she ended up alright. I hope so. It's kind of uncertain
Mork.
of that one. It's like, Mork. He had darkness in his heart, always. Nature of his work, he was staring into the abyss every day, and I knew pieces of himself were always being shed. Of all of us, I think even worse than Barrick, his fate was, I can recall now, the worst of us.
Kirandet.
Yep. Kirandet, yes. The wayfarer over the shadows. She's a student of Shara, yes. And she, fascinated by death. Didn't like Vox tampering with it. Didn't like where we chose to make our abode, given what we learned later. But she was always a defender of our home and its people. And despite her disagreements with our philosophy on going about things, she understood what was at stake, and she ultimately chose to stand with us in our hour of need. And like Barrick, she fought to the end. And then that's all of them.
Silas? we done Silas? I don't think so.
You already said Silas,
Yeah,
yeah.
we did.
We
Silas.
did? Okay, my bad.
Yeah, so you see the darkness clear, and you now see before you a torched sconce on the wall opening into a darkened hallway and passage. And out of the darkness next to the torch, you see a haggard-looking figure, not wearing a smile anymore. His hat has holes in it. His cloak is in tatters, but he's still wearing it. And his pants are still the flamboyant, kind of baggy, jester-like pants that you saw before, but they're miscolored and aged. And he's not carrying a lute, as you've seen him every time up until now. But you do see from the darkness step forth Malice, but looking lesser, but also looking more real than you've seen him in the past. And it says, who are all of you? You've managed to make it here, and that implies much, and it implies I should and will trust you just by your presence standing here upon the edge of the stairwell, and you imparting each of their names. That means the enchantments were lifted, surpassed, and you are here by the nature of a certain journey. And I don't know who you are. I've never seen any of you, but I'd imagine you've seen me, and you've seen my family, and you've perhaps even gotten to know some of them. And this trust that I'm laying in you right now, I hope, will become mutual over the next few minutes as I explain why I need you to be here right now. As he kind of like looks over all of you's ragtag group with a flicker of less defeat than was in his voice just a moment ago.
I guess whenever we see him, does he look? I mean, you're saying that he looks different because it's more like of a realistic, like I guess a real version of him. Could they do like an insight to see if like if it's the same, like I guess entity that was speaking to us in all the other instances? Does that make sense?
Yeah, you can roll. You can roll an insight, Arcana. Anybody could. But yeah, from that insight you just rolled, you get the understanding that, like, kind of in the same way you saw all the members of the family, they were a little bit brighter and more. They look like unblemished. You know, like not like a real person can have like a bad hair day or have scars and like look different on a day-to-day basis, but like the aspects of what you ended up seeing as like spirits, they all looked like unblemished and like kind of in their prime, even though certain ones had like the scars of what actually happened to them, like Barrick, on their spirits. And Malice was no different. Like his voice was like transcendent. He looked in like full regalia, like shining. And the figure you see before you, he's like wearing the same clothes, but they're all discolored and old. And it looks like he looks kind of similar to y'all in the sense that like he looks like he's like aged and he's been through a lot. And it looks like the same person, but like lesser. Less of a perfect form of life.
Okay.
Interesting.
You want to call it and wait for next time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah, I think I know what Quilly would say, but I'll wait
Yeah.
to see.